From birth, we are taught, programmed to believe that we are different from others. We believe that others are different from their race, religion, sexuality, disability, or simply the clothing that we wear. We are taught to have an eye for the world. And through this eye, we have proven to ourselves throughout history to have a lack of knowledge, empathy, and common ground. Now, we seek out differences and ridicule and stick with people who are just like us. But however, there are undeniable similarities between all walks of human life, despite the barricades that we have put between us. Because deep down, we are all people with one thing in common. We all wish to belong, and we all wish to be loved. How do we get to that point in our life, however? Through something called compassion. Now, there are 3 effects of compassion: biological, psychological, and social. Now, I'll be showing you this through neuroscience and my family's work throughout the mental health field. But first, what is compassion? Well, it is so much more than just a fuzzy feeling. Sure, when you think of the word, you might be thinking, oh, rainbows, butterflies, sunshine. Yeah, it's great as an idea, but is it applicable to my life? Well, I'm here to show you and hopefully convince you that it is. And our world is in dire need of more of it. But first is biological. What does it do to the function of our brains and how we work? Well, for a long time throughout science, we believed that after we hit a certain age, our brains were done developing, that we were soaked up everything we possibly could. However, through recent studies, we found out that this simply isn't true, and this is one of them by Davidson. He took a group of monks who prayed and meditated on the ideas of compassion and compared them to a control group of average adult brains through an EEG. And what he found was that the monks had a high increase of gamma waves. And gamma waves create conscious perception in our brains. Now, just by practicing compassion, these monks filled in blank gaps, gray matter in their brains that they had before. It's like they had a disconnected wire. And just by this practice, they connected it. And that's what lit the light bulb for them. And practicing love and compassion in our own lives can increase our own gamma waves. And the uses can be better recall, thought processes, can be used as an antidepressant. Overall, huge mental and physical health benefits for us. However, a lot of the times we're talking about people in places that lack compassion, places of oppression, homophobia, racism, social injustice. So what happens to these people who experience this oppression? Well, there's something in our brain called the amygdala. This is where our fear control center is and where our fight or flight response is harbored. So when people experience oppression, when they feel like they are hated, when they feel like they do not belong, their amygdala is going to fire off and give them this fight or flight response. Their brain's going to tell them that they are being almost physically harmed by someone. Now, we've seen links with problems with the amygdala to things such as PTSD, anxiety, depression, even autism. How do we fight this with compassion, though? What's in it for us? Well, also in our brain is something called the reward system, also known as the pleasure system. This is what happens when we have a delicious meal, when we just get a raise from our boss, when we're in love. This is our brain sending a message saying, hey, I love this feeling. I want more of this feeling. So it's actually been shown that when we're caring, when we're giving, when we're loving to other people, our brain sends us this message, almost as if we just had a delicious meal. And the great part about this is that we don't even need to have something in return from that person for our brain to send us this message. So the next time you're feeling down or you're not feeling good about yourself, try compassion towards other people. See if it works for you. I know it works for me. Now, I want you to think of the person you love most in this world. Maybe they're sitting right next to you right now. It's heartbreaking, but for a lot of demographics, they have never felt this kind of love. For hundreds of years, it was the belief that if someone was disabled, it was easier to put them in a mental institution, to deal with the problem behind closed doors, that they were someone to be fixed. Well, my mother, my beautiful mother, she would probably kill me if I didn't say that, is a manager and head director of training at Macomb Oakland Regional Center, MORC for short. And she spent her whole entire life to try to fight this ideal, to create what we now know as a culture of gentleness, which is the basic idea that we are all people who wish to be loved and wish to belong. And we do this through positive human interaction. Now, I grew up working and volunteering at this organization for as long as I possibly could imagine, probably since I was 6 or 7 years old. And it's completely shaped my perspective of the world. When we view someone not as something to be fixed, but someone to be loved, to be cherished, to be taught, to be celebrated, that is when we all have the opportunity to grow. Now, I'm going to be showing you a video, hopefully it works, that I think really demonstrates the work that we've been trying to do in the mental health field through the power of compassion.
I thought to myself, if he's happy, if he stops hurting himself, if I could hug him, that would be the greatest gift in life. And we continued against all odds, and he got better. I was telling him that you go to Elizabethtown. Where do you go? Elizabethtown, Utah. Elizabethtown High School. And we're very proud of that, right? And we collect a lot of movies. We buy movies. Yeah, so I'm going to just talk about you.
Okay, so this father received the worst diagnosis seemingly possible for his son as an infant: Crohn's disease, toxin in the bowels, neurological damage, autism, violence towards himself and others. The experts told him to put him in an institution. However, this father, who I greatly admire, said his son deserved so much more than a life inside 4 gray walls, and the only human interaction he would probably receive was from a doctor. So he tried something different. He tried loving and teaching and caring, and he taught social skills. And as you see, he got better. Chris is now in high school, and he's able to communicate. He's able to hug his father. He's able to effectively show emotion, something that he was never able to do before, something that we never deemed possible before, something to be celebrated. Our world has forgotten about this. I like to say that we're a generation that likes to fight things fire with fire. If we're in war, we think it's a great idea to just, bomb people and go fight it with more war. And if someone says something awful to you, the best response is to say something mean back, right? And we're teaching our children that their value lies in their beauty, not in their minds, their souls, and their hearts. However, our world cannot sustain off of this. Our problems cannot be solved with the same thinking we used when we created it. We cannot afford to live with the same thinking that we have been. Because if it is all our ultimate goal to be loved and to belong, like I've been saying, why do we limit ourselves to one kind of person? Why do we say, if you're going to belong to me, you have to be from a certain race, from a certain background, from a certain socioeconomic stance? We limit ourselves from growth, from communication, from friendship, from the basic aspects of human life. Now, I want to ask you a question, and I want you to answer as honestly as possible to yourself. Does your life lack compassion? And if so, can it wait to another day? Now, these are some statistics from 2014. Over 1,100,000 violent crimes were committed. This includes murder, manslaughter, rape, robbery, aggravated assault. About 43,000 suicides were committed, and this number is dramatically growing each year. 14.8 million Americans are depressed. They feel alone. They feel like people have forgotten and given up on them. So, can it wait to another day? It starts with you. It starts with you lending a hand to your friend who is struggling, and this is their 5th day crashing on your couch. It starts with you sitting with that boy who seems alone every single day in the lunchroom. It starts with you speaking words of kindness when all there is negativity. Because if our world has not been doing too well off of hatred, then let's try love and see where that gets us. Now, I'm going to leave you on a quote that I think sums up what I've been trying to say here and sums up what I've been trying to live my life by for the past couple years. And I've learned that people will forget what you said, and people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Thank you.